Hey, welcome back, everybody. UFC 298, Volkanovski versus Topuria recently ended, and wow. I think the card delivered pretty well. Some big moments along the way and big moment at the end. So we'll go through all the fights, talk about the results, and then, of course, we'll look at our guys' picks and see how they did. And we'll look at the system that I just changed away from favorites when favorites went 11-1. So,
Dumbass.
thanks a lot, guys. Kick me when I'm down. But yeah, all that and more coming right up. First fight of the night was the ladies. Andrea Lee taking on Miranda Maverick. This fight was all right. To me, it looked like it was going Andrea Lee's way a little bit in the early parts when Miranda Maverick would come forward and clinch. She looked really awkward, and then even when she'd try to throw Andrea Lee to the ground, a lot of times it got reversed. She ended up on bottom and stuff. And then on the Andrea Lee side, she threw a spinning back fist. She was throwing knees. On more than one occasion, she impressed me with her strength, rocking a suplex at one point, and then getting off the bottom on the ground by simply standing up with Miranda on top of her. But Miranda stayed busy, threw some leg kicks, and started getting some good entries on some takedown looks. In the end, she got the unanimous decision, and just like Forrest Gump,
that's all I have to say about that.
The next fight was between welterweights Oban Elliott and Val Woodburn. Elliott was a big favorite, and for good reason. Val's gas tank seemed to blow out about 2 minutes into the first round. He did come to brawl until then. He'd come in to hit, but ended up getting clinched. Too short to do much, and so muscle-bound that he just didn't last long with the energy. Elliott looked good, looked smart, but he repeatedly looked for rear naked chokes, something to win with on the ground, and just never found it. I think for what people were expecting, it was a little disappointing, but he got the W, and that's better than the alternative. Next fight up was Danny Barlow versus Josh Quinlan. The welterweights gave us our first finish of the evening. Quinlan started out by missing a lot of the punches that he was throwing. When he hits hard. Combos, kick, but it was Barlow's fight. He was the majority of the offense, threw more flying knees than I've seen in any 5 fights. Looked pretty slick, and at the towards the end of the second was just on his game, sharp as hell. Even caught Quinlan's shot attempt with a sprawl, even though he hadn't done any of the whole fight, and it came out of nowhere. So pretty impressive. TKO, 3rd round. We move to light heavyweights now, with Zhang Mingyang versus Brenson Ribeiro. This one hurt, as we'll find out later. 4 of the 5 guys picked Ribeiro to get the upset, so that triggered our bet on him at a 1.5 unit, which fell apart quite quickly. But that was a hell of a knockout, and Dana agreed, giving Zhang Mingyang Performance of the Night bonus. Nice. This might have been the most boring 30-27 unanimous decision fight I've ever seen. Nakamura was in control, but just looked average at best, although he was fighting an unconventional opponent, that's for sure. Carlos Vera, I just can't stand this kind of style of fighting. It's ridiculous. It's flopping around, rolling around on the ground, looking for whatever comes around. It's like being a football team and taking a Hail Mary on every single play. Yeah, you connect with a few, you might win the game, but otherwise you just look like an idiot, and you're going to lose 99% of them. The other problem with guys like that is and I love Joe Rogan, but they just trigger him into retardation. He must have said that Carlos had something locked in and it was tight, just like he does in every fight, but a million times. It's ridiculous. Some of these announcers, I like their knowledge of the history, I like their passion, but for fuck's sakes, if I have to listen to Rogan or Cormier or someone tell me, oh my God, he's hurt, he hurt him with that one, and the dude's completely fine, or, oh my God, that's tight, this is going to be over, and the guy, slides out of it nicely. It's annoying the first 10 times, but maddening the next 100. All right, I get back to it. Thank you, Billy. I got it. Seemed like Vera ended up with about 10 strikes total, and I respect all disciplines, but can we stop with the BJJ, line your back, pull guard bullshit, rolling around looking for a, wild shot sub? Either you're a submission artist and you can get these things, or else get to fighting. Gosh sakes. Mercifully, eventually it ended. Unanimous decision, Nakamura. Unanimous coma, the audience. Of course, I had a problem with this fight too. I hate short notice replacements. This didn't even qualify for short notice. It was too short. I appreciate that there was only 12 fights on the card and that he saved a fight, but come on. He basically got destroyed by one calf kick. Tafa was compromised almost immediately, and there wasn't a person in the building that thought he was going to win. I still think that they need to look at having a designated replacement. Someone that's actually doing, half a camp or something and is in relatively decent shape and knows who they might be fighting. The fighter in the fight would know who the replacement is if the original matchup doesn't work out for whatever reason. I know it's a lot to ask of guys to have a camp without a fight, but maybe you pay them something. Maybe it could be a gesture that gets you something in return, either more likely chance at the fighter that you want to fight next. If you're in line in the conversation for a title shot, maybe you step up to next shot. They could do something. I hope this isn't true. I'm a bit cynical, but to me, after that very first calf kick, it looked like we were just waiting for Tafa to decide that he's hung around long enough not to be called a pussy, and then just kind of stayed down and signaled to DeLima that, come on, take me, I'm done. And DeLima seems to have zero fight IQ. He had Tafa ready to go and seemed to have relatively no urgency or ability to understand that if he just smacked that leg a few more times, it would be over. Instead, for some reason, DeLima's first instinct after hurting his opponent with a leg kick is to clinch up against the fence and maybe go for a takedown. That is not the killer instinct of a good fighter. Basically, just all-around disappointment on this one. By the way, this is a no contest as far as our leaderboard is concerned. The handicappers did not handicap for Junior. They handicapped for Justin, and so this one will be a skip. The featured bout of the night was between Mackenzie Dern and Amanda Lemos. Lemos was sharp right off the bat. Leg kicks were nuts. She busted up Dern's face pretty good. Mackenzie was missing everything at the beginning. I think she started 0-15 for significant strike attempts. She did have nice takedowns, reversals on the floor. She ended up on top to end the fight. I think she thought she did enough to win, but she was busted up, so the judges gave the unanimous decision to Amanda Lemos. Mackenzie had some good control time, but she got dropped and her face told the tale, so that was that. Opening up the main card were Anthony Hernandez and Roman Kopylov, middleweights. Kopylov looked tough. He was just popping Hernandez in the face. His kick range is unbelievable. His speed is nuts. Body kicks that hurt me just watching. And he started 8 out of 8, I think, in the takedown defense. So he had things rolling. But one thing about Hernandez, he's hard to put out, and he doesn't stop. He hits hard with that right hand, which gives him something to do while he's waiting to get the takedown. And then once he got the takedown, it was just take the back and rear naked choke attempt after rear naked choke attempt until he got it. It was a thing of beauty to watch, really. This was a high-level fight. The punch accuracy and power from both of these guys was really elite level. I can't wait to see both of them fight again. I'll shout out to Wanderlei Silva. He was announced before this fight to be a new addition to the Hall of Fame this year. Definitely deserving. Guy was an absolute menace. And yeah, it was nice to see. So right off the bat, I'll just say I don't know how the hell this fight was before Ian Gary's piece of shit. You've got Merab Dvalishvili, arguably the most insane Energizer bunny of the entire organization, just launching himself up to a title shot here. And he's fighting Henry Cejudo, Triple C, Olympic champion and two-division double champ in the UFC. Sure, he was retired for a while, but just resume-wise and rankings-wise, I mean, you've got a 2 against a 3 here. The placement of this fight just shines a huge light on Dana's tendency to try to star make by elevating people way too quickly. So I was really hoping Gary would get beat, but that's another story. This was a great fight. These guys were fucking swinging. Cejudo caught Merab with the left. He was out wrestling him on the ground, looked a little quicker and in control down there. But the gas tank, he seemed to peter out in the second round and couldn't really find the on switch again. Dvalishvili with the spins, the takedown, the second round control, he's just unbelievable. He'll give hell to whoever he fights for the belt. I don't know what to say about Cejudo. He fights great still, but by now in his comeback, you'd think he'd have the cardio where he wanted it to be if it was able to get there, and it doesn't look like it is. And the other factor from continuing on is, as a former double champ and Olympic champion, what's the motivation for him just to hang around in the top 5 for the next 3-4 years or something? He needs to be getting a title shot, or there's not much there for him. So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't think retirement again very soon, but I don't mind if he hangs around and provides some more excitement. And I'm not even really a big fan, but we'll see what happens. It looks like we got a little preview of things to come at the end there. The featured bout of the evening, for some unknown reason, was between Ian Machado Gary and Jeff Neal. I liked how Jeff Neal started. He was accurate, hitting Ian in the head. Possibly took the first round. Gary turned it up a little bit in the second. He had some great body kicks. His kicks in general are very good. He became a little more aggressive and got done what he needed to do to have the judges give him the split decision victory anyway. I hope the UFC does give him Colby Covington, and somehow they both lose. The co-main event was a contest between Paulo Costa and Robert Whittaker. Man, did Costa have some great head kicks. His kicks are so quick. His accuracy was off the charts, and he looked in just great shape. This was killer Costa as far as what version we saw. He wobbled Whittaker, who was saved by the bell, if I remember correctly. But he didn't get finished and came back with combos and hard shots. Both of them were hitting like trucks. In the end, it was Whittaker with the unanimous decision. But I hope they get Costa right back into it so he doesn't go into his usual hiatus, because he was looking good. The main event of the evening brought us Alexander Volkanovski and Ilya Topuria for the featherweight championship of the world. Volkanovski was very active at the beginning, throwing repeated leg kicks at Topuria, snapping jabs, looked like he was sharp and motivated. But it only took 3 or 4 of those kicks for even me to realize that it was leaving him in a wide open and awkward position. He would lean back so far and so straight with his head wide open that I thought for sure it was a big mistake, and so did Topuria, who quickly pounced on it, and every time he'd do that, he threw a right hand over top and smacked him right in the face. Topuria's low kicks were devastating. He was fine, just taking his time and finding his shots, and sure enough, second round KO, and he just crumpled him. He was out for a while. This is 3 losses in a row for Volkanovski, the last 2 brutal KOs. He's just a specimen of an athlete, but I thought he's been rushing things and kind of out of his head a little bit, or too much in his head this last year or so. So Sad to see. I really like Volkanovski. He's a great champion. Hopefully they'll give him the immediate rematch. He deserves it and he wants it. Although I don't think it'd be a bad idea to take some time off, let Topuria have another fight, and then come back completely reoriented to just win the next fight. No double champ talk, no short notice crap. Just a full camp. Concentrate on the thing immediately in front of you, and we'll see if you can get back on track. But hats off to Topuria. He talked the talk and walked the walk. He's fantastic in all his talk of showing us another level to MMA. Seems to be backed up with the receipts, so more power to him, and can't wait to see him fight again. Dana was impressed too, and Topuria received the last performance of the night bonus, $50,000 on top of his normal pay. Pretty good card. Lots of names up and down it. Lots of exciting fights. Wasn't too keen about all the favorites winning. 11 out of 12, and unfortunately Volk was the 1 out of 12 that was the exception to the rule last night. Okay, now we know how the fights went. Let's see how our picks went. We'll start with the guys. All right, well, it was fun to review those fights. We've got ourselves a new featherweight champion. That's crazy. From what I could tell by the check marks in the last section, it seems like our guys did pretty well, but let's find out for sure. MMA Experts had a good week, going 8-3. He had a nice pick on Zhang Yang, being the only one out of the five guys that wasn't lured in by the siren song of Brenson Ribeiro. So he improved his overall record to 33-26, a 56% winning percentage, and he added $83.90 in the positive direction to his former total for a new total of minus 804.15. Next up is We Want Picks. They went 8-3 as well, missing on Zhang, Hernandez, and Topuria, as did most guys, so no shame there. This improves his overall record to 36-23, a 61% winning percentage, and he added 61.03 in the positive direction to his former total, arriving at a new total of negative $356.55. MMA-Guru really won the week. He went 9-2, missing only on Ribeiro and Neal, which means, yes, he made the superhero call of Ilya Topuria. He was the only one, and boom, came through. He improves his overall record to 39-20, winning percentage of 66%, and he adds $267.37 to his previous total for a new total of $362.34. Way to go, Guru. I think that's going to be tough to beat. Next up is DFS by the numbers. They had the worst record of the week at 7-4, notably making a superhero call of his own that just didn't come through, picking Mackenzie Dern against Amanda Lemos, the only one to do so, and we know the results. That'll bring his overall record to 37-22 for a 63% winning percentage. And it looks like he'll add $16.80 to his previous total for a new total of $145.15. At the top, Sherdog went 8-3, missing on Ribeiro, Kopylov, and Volkanovski. He improved his record to 39-20 overall, a 66% winning percentage, and ended up adding $61.03 to his former total for a new total of $204.46. Perhaps we'll be shuffling some positions. But before we do, why don't we take this time to hit that like button and subscribe if you find anything interesting. Appreciate it much. And now, just incredible action as usual. We had a shuffle at the top. Guru cannot be stopped the last few weeks and sits on top of the mountain as of now. Sherdog's not going to be deterred, though, and stays right at his heels at a close second. DFS by the numbers kept his stride, although he slid to third. We Want Picks and MMA Experts still are in the negative zone, but heading the right way, and no doubt over the course of time they'll be in the green zone as well, but they come in 4th and 5th as of this week. So I've put everyone else in the hot seat for a while now. I can see you guys aren't about to let me get away without sitting on the hot seat myself. Are you sure?
Take a seat.
Well, I mean, there's a million other things I could do.
I said sit down. Are you deaf?
No, I'm not deaf. It's just that, you know.
I said sit
All
down.
right. Can I get a cushion or something? It's hot. And stop laughing at me.
It's very important that you sit down. Now, for the last time, try again to sit
I'm not stupid,
down.
motherfucker. I know how to sit down.
Sit down, you big stupid head!
What in the hell was that all about? All right, I better sit down. I wanted to quickly go over the reasons why I made the changes I did to the B.L.A.B.S betting system. That's the betting leaderboards auto bet system, B.L.A.B.S. Just a genius, really. But I took the time to run some of the numbers from the previous version, and definitely shows the reason I made the changes. But whether there was good reasoning or not, this week blows everything out of the water, as we shall see. So I calculated some numbers for B.L.A.B.S 1.0 so far, and as I suspected, the favorites, despite producing a winning record of picks, produces losing results for our wallet. Just how much confirmed that taking some action might not have been the wrong idea. This week could just be a bad week for us, regardless of the changes that we made. But let's look at those numbers real quick, and then we will get to how our picks did. Yuck. So I'll put up the system as we knew it before, and then we'll look at the cumulative picks from its birth until the changes we made the last video. The first rule, 5 for 5, would in theory give us the best winning percentage. They're favorites. They're picked by every single one of the handicappers that we follow. What did go wrong? But as we see in the results, we kind of limped to a 9-6 record with this, and a huge loss in the pocketbook. This is the reason why we tightened up the line requirements to -199 or better. The 4 or 5 guys on the favorites section, again, you'd think would be a positive thing, but it did worse than the 5 for 5, of course, to the tune of only going 4 and 3, 57% winning percentage, and an even bigger loss ratio with a -8165. The two favorite categories together produced only a 13 and 9 overall record for 59% and a -$240.43 total in 4 events. Yikes. On the other hand, our dogs were killing it. The most common dog scenario is when 3 of our 5 guys pick a dog to win. We had a 5 and 3 record there for 63%, which isn't that much better than the 5 for 5 favorites, but even at 50% here, you're winning money because the bets are plus money. At 63%, you're doing great, versus picking up a third or a half of a unit on a favorites bet. So the last bit would be part 2 of the dogs rule. If 4 of the 5 guys were on a dog, which you'd think would be a rare situation, though it's happened a couple times now. Had only happened once for B.L.A.B.S 1.0. We doubled the bet for 4 out of 5 on a championship underdog. It was Dricus Duplessis, pulled through over Strickland, so we were 1 for 1, 100%, for a positive $228. The 3 of 5 dogs I mentioned earlier won us $328 for a total of $556. A 6 and 3 record overall, 67%. So obviously I was feeling good about the doggies and not so good about the faves. So we made the changes we did. Here's the 2.0 card, and here are the results for week 1. So for B.L.A.B.S 2.0's initial week, in the 5 for 5 section, at the new -199 instead of -299, we got Danny Barlow for 1 unit. Our new betting line restrictions prevented us from betting Elliott and Nakamura, both who won, but that doesn't necessarily mean our system's flawed here. 4 out of 5 yielded the same fighters that it would have because we didn't change the line requirements, but we did make these bets only half units to try to lessen the damage. This week, the qualifiers were Miranda Maverick, Amanda Lemos, and Alexander Volkanovski, each 1/2 unit. Last but not least were the doggies. First, with 3 out of the 5 analysts picking him, Roman Kopylov was bet 1 unit, but lost to Hernandez's rear naked choke. We had our second 4 guys picking the same underdog since we've been doing this. It was Brenson Ribeiro. Because 4 of the guys liked him, we put 1.5 units on him, and he lost as well, badly. Our total for the week is a -184, bringing our current total to 131.57. Oh my God, I think we're done. That was like making a mini movie. If you made it this far, you gotta subscribe and hit that like button. It's mandatory. Part of YouTube's bylaws. Out of my hands, really. Look for all the guys' picks in the preview video for the Mexico City card. I'll be doing that just as soon as I get some sleep. Till next time, everybody.